All right, guys, let's jump in with Warhammer Quest Cursed City. And I have to say that this kind of took me by surprise, but not really. But at the same time, it took me by surprise. We have just completed in the Quest series, the Blackstone Fortress. About a year and a half, maybe 2 years of consistent and constant releases. And the formula of Blackstone Fortress was naturally a refinement from the earlier Silver Tower and Hammerfall Quest games. So it was only natural that Games Workshop, putting in that Q&A, putting in that tech and design, they're going to want to continue the mechanics. And looking at the success of Blackstone Fortress, this idea of Quest in a box, it's a license to print money, especially when it's combined with the various print quality and miniature quality and potential expansions that Games Workshop can put out. So I was speculating maybe about a month ago, this idea that we want another Quest series. I'd love another 40K Quest series, but it's probably going to be Sigmar. It's probably going to be some sort of fantasy type setting. And naturally, a dungeon crawler would be awesome. If you've been following my channel for any amount of time, you know I'm a massive enthusiast of dungeon crawlers. But at the same time, so if it was a dungeon crawler, I'd be happy. If it was a Silver Tower-esque type aspect, I'd be happy. But I was hoping for something a little bit more innovative with the story and the placement. And Cursed City with the placement, this is what's really interesting in looking at the map. We're going to get the core game, but I'm guessing that each district or each area, that will be an expansion featuring terrain tiles, monsters, treasure cards, playable characters based on that tile, based on that set. So we might be looking at core plus on top of that 5, 6, 7 expansions to kind of put out the city. And what might be even more interesting is, could you do like a giant multi-part city and string them all along? You know, you could do that in Blackstone Fortress, where you could play Blackstone core, but then you could put in the Amble, you could throw in Deadly Alliance, No Respite, mix and match, pile everything in, or pull them in and out as you play. But even in putting all of the expansions together and playing with them, the scope of the Blackstone Fortress stays about the same. But if we could have different districts, literally of a cursed city, that's very, very intriguing. And you know, Games Workshop has crunched the numbers, did the meta, secret sauce, all that, and they're realizing, look, we're going to just expand the heck out of this and just run with it. And that's really, really awesome to jump in at this time. I'm also intrigued, the setting with undead. Now, they'll pull in other aspects of it, but the heroes look really, really good. We got away, well, as of this vlog, we've only had the first couple of reveals, but we've got kind of a grim, dark, vampire, undead hunter. Thank you. Thank you. Something different than Sigmar Marines. I'm sure we'll have a Sigmar Marine in there, but it's nice to have that aspect of kind of going back to that old school kind of roots, where essentially we're looking at like Mordheim. I mean, we can kind of call it what it is. Hopefully we'll see some Weirdstone. But, you know, just when I said I was out, just when I said I was done, Games Workshop pulling me back in. And my only hope is that, no spoilers, I can complete the various quests in time. I've still got some good playthrough with Blackstone Fortress. Make it through that completely. Make it through the core completely. Set myself up ready to jump into it. So a very, very interesting release. And the only piece of advice that I'd give from someone who's been through the Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress cycle, someone that missed the Silver Tower cycle and the Hammerfall cycle, and I can't go back, Games Workshop will support this system. It's clear in the Quest DNA, the Quest Genesis. This is a one and done. This is a print along the way. You get on board, you miss it, you miss it. It's not like there's going to be reprints once it's out of that cycle. So if you're thinking about jumping into the Quest, this is the time to get involved in that initial release, in that initial core. And then as the expansions move out, pick them up as you can, but I wouldn't say ultimately wait on them. And I know we're looking at the course of over like a year and a half, 2 years, but I wouldn't look to wait on them and pick them up. It's not going to be like a board game that's always in print. At least that's my experience with Blackstone Fortress. And again, looking back at the other Quest titles. In the comments, your thoughts, your ideas. Are you intrigued by it? Are you happy to see it? Or would you have liked to have seen more kind of grimdark something with Space Marines and have a continuation of Warhammer Quest set in the dark quests of the 41st millennium?